vulnerability sounds quite sort of tame and mild compared to what we're hearing actually happened, doesn't it, Stacie?
Yes, I think that's a very technical kind of clinical term for it. It's standard across industry to call it that, and really what we're seeing here is we're seeing responsible vulnerability disclosure from a number of companies like SolarWinds and FireEye, and some quick action to mitigate that.
So do we know what these hackers might have got? They got into the Treasury, they got into the Commerce departments, they got into the Pentagon, they got into the State Department. Are we aware yet of the impact that this hack might have had?
No, we don't know the impact yet. I think it's still very early days, and we are just discovering now who has been affected by this malware that was sent out through the Orion software. And so I think in the coming days, as these organizations do their investigations, we'll find out what was compromised, what people possibly had access to, and if any data was taken out of the system. But part of it is not only the data, but also the knowledge of the systems as well, or the knowledge of people who are connected to each other. So there's layers of information that they can gather doing an attack like this.
Stacie, do we know how long they were sitting in there observing these things? Because there was some suggestion it was all the way back to the spring.
Yeah, so the updates that were infected with the malware started as early as March, and so from March to about June is when they think most of them would have been installed, and it took about 2 weeks then for the actual malware to kind of send a signal back to those people who put it in there to say that it was installed and running. So it could have happened kind of spring and early summer would probably be the earliest chance that we know of that things started to go wrong.
It's been characterized as exceptional tradecraft, sophisticated, they were patient, and they took their time. I mean, when you stand back from this, it is quite extraordinary that if this is the Russian government and it is sitting within the operating systems of key government departments, that's a new frontier in cyber warfare.
I mean, FireEye themselves said that this is unlike something that they've seen before, something unprecedented, and it has long-term vision, and there were many layers that they had to go through to get access to these systems. So, on one way, that speaks to the robustness generally of the cybersecurity of the State Department, of the Department of Homeland Security. On the other hand, it shows how important supply chains are, in this day and age, and why the security of those supply chains is becoming even more going under more and more scrutiny as things become even more interconnected.
Extraordinary.